And I just wanted to come live and share with you a painting that I just finished of my sweet Luca. But I just painted this live in Michelle's Inner Circle. And I want to show you what you can do um, when you learn and work on techniques that I teach in Michelle's Inner Circle. Now, this painting is for my licensing gallery as well, because it can be used for painting classes. If you license in Michelle's, in Art Wave Studio membership, then this is available for licensing, and you can switch out and teach different dogs. Like this is one of my members, her little black Cocker Spaniel, and I just did a little sample to show that this could be done with any dog in a very simplified silhouette. Especially a lot of people have dark dogs. That's super easy. You just do a little black silhouette of the breed, and then maybe a little gray highlights and a little gray highlights around the edges to show a. So I recently lost my Borzoi. He had a very aggressive cancer and died at only 8 years old, so it was super sad. So I felt like painting his painting. While I plan on doing a larger portrait at some time in the future, this painting uses a lot of my Art Rave techniques that I teach in Michelle's Inner Circle. Like my brown underpainting, you can see a lot of the brown here. I use some muted colors to make it a little bit more like a vintage style, keeping them kind of on the browner, warmer side. So I like the waters in the sky to have a little bit more of a muted blue-green. And I'll show you some of the photo references that I taught and used. So I went through my own camera roll as well as some things for, let me just go back to some of my photos. So this was the main picture or scene that I wanted to capture Luca in. And you can create a painting of your dog in any setting that brings you joy, and just keep it very simple. I did not paint every detail in the photo. I didn't make it as bright as the photo. I edited out a lot of things. You can see how there's similarities to the distant land, this and shores here. There's similarities to the dunes. I just captured just in simple hills. You don't need to do something complicated to make something special. And then I even kept Luca very simple. I didn't make every detail. I didn't paint him close up. I painted him a little further away. And by just using some of my art techniques of the brown underpainting, base coats, highlights, and shadows, we created this warm, touching landscape. And you can put a small dog in it, actually, to make it even more personalized. And like I said, this is a little black Cocker Spaniel. You can do your own dog in place of my dog. And just imagine this beautiful scene where your dog can run free and something that you can enjoy for many, many years to come. All right, well, I'm just gonna paint the border now, and I'm gonna leave this on here for a second. So I have a large brush. I'm gonna paint the edges black so that I can just take this cute vintage landscape and put it somewhere on the back of a shelf, on a counter, and whenever I see it, it's just going to remind me of my special boy, Luca. So I'm going to take my, I'm going to mix the black with the browns and the blues. That's going to make a little bit more black so that I can make sure I can get all around my whole canvas. So I'm going to mix, this is how I use up my extra paints. I usually mix the browns and the blacks if I need a little bit more black. I mean the browns and the blues. And then I use the flat side of my brush and just go back and forth. Now I might frame this painting. I might just leave it without a frame for a little while. And so it's nice to have the edges finished. Okay, so we're just going to continue painting all around the edges. If anybody has any questions about Michelle's Inner Circle, if you would like to learn my painting techniques and how I simplify paintings and still make them look beautiful and elegant and sophisticated, you can just send me a message. I answer all my messages myself, and I'd be happy to tell you more about what I teach in Michelle's Inner Circle. And we do subject matters for my sip and paint licensing business, but I also paint other subjects as well, other topics, and like today's painting, it can be used for licensing, of course. It's going to go into our licensing gallery, but it's a little bit more on the personal side for me today, and I just wanted to share it with you this afternoon. I'm just painting black along the edges. This is how I finish off all my canvases. Well, most of them get a little black border. And I just use the side of the brush to create a straight edge in the front so I don't get it on my painting. And I don't need to tape it off or do anything other than just use the flat side of the brush, and I get a nice straight clean line just by gliding it back and forth. So one of my signature techniques that I teach for my membership and Michelle's Inner Circle is to do the brown underpainting, because it makes your paints look much more rich. I know it seems a little counterintuitive to think your paints are going to be prettier when you have brown underneath them, but it takes the highlights and makes the highlights much more pronounced because you've toned your canvas. And in this scenario, I wanted a warm look because I wanted kind of a little bit of a vintage dog art style. And I really like the darker tones and then minimal highlights. And especially on this painting where I had a little bit of a backlight from the sky, I didn't want to have a white dog against a white cloudy sky. That wouldn't really stand out very well. So I made him a little bit backlit, gave him a little white glow around him so that he looks like he's kind of standing in the light of the day. And any dog breed, you know, if you want to customize it with your own little dog, that is the fun of doing a painting where the dog is smaller, because it's very easy to just have a basic silhouette of your dog with a little bit of detailing. A darker dog is actually much easier. Like a white dog, it was going to be hard for people because it's hard to paint your white dog gray and brown like I did, and then just highlight it small areas of white and tan. But if you have a darker dog, you could just use a few little highlights on some key areas, like the edge of their back, along the edges where the light might shine through their fur. And there you go. There's our little Luca landscape.